We are those known to you as the principle of quo. Greetings in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator, in whose name we join you this evening. We thank you for asking us to join you in your meditation and share our thoughts, and we are happy to do so. As always, before we begin, we would ask you to use your discrimination and your best discernment to determine what of our thoughts are useful to you and what are not. If they resonate to you and seem to have a life of their own, then by all means use them. If they do not do so, please leave them behind without a second thought. We thank you for this courtesy, for it allows us to feel sure that we are not infringing on your free will as we share our humble thoughts. You have asked this evening concerning the differences in time-space and space-time with regard to service and to experience in general. It is a challenging question, my friends, because of the fact that in time-space there is still a space-time analog to enable entities to have incarnations. To begin and to end an incarnation, there must be some reference to space-time. Consequently, even though in time-space densities, the bodies have their physicality in an electrical sense rather than in a chemical sense, there is still a perception of the passage of time. This is not necessarily, however, the environment in which an entity in the fourth, fifth, sixth, or seventh density will spend its time, or shall we say, its time-space. The pure realms of time-space do not have that solid connection with the passage of time, and the energies involved in pure time-space are connected with vibratory levels and the central focus of each vibratory level. As you can imagine, there are an infinity of such levels. Consequently, we will be discussing for experiences or environments for experience the waking experience of space-time, the time-space portion of space-time, the waking portion of time-space, and pure time-space. The two sets of environments are very different primarily because of the veil of forgetting that drops when an entity incarnates into space-time in third density. Some entities are able to retain at least a partial memory of the unveiled experience of the Creator. Most are not, and the prison, shall we say, of limited awareness is relatively complete around the waking entity in space-time. So, as we address the question of an approach to time-space from the vantage point of one who is incarnate in space-time, we would begin with a consideration of those factors which mark out the respect in which space-time differs from time-space, or shall we say, adds a new set of facets to be considered. We would do this by offering you a distinction between doing and being. The space-time as you experience it in third density in the veiled condition is composed of a very large and complex array of doings. Everywhere you look there is that which is done, that which is proposed to do, or that which has been rejected as a possible doing. To be sure, at no point within the doings that are considered is there an utter lack of being, for in a deeper sense, all doing emanates from a being, but deeds done or contemplated tend to circumscribe that more qualitative portion of your experience such that it is contained within capsules, if you will, and treated as if the entire quality of the experience is adequately expressed in an event that has been done, that has been performed, or that is done to one received by one. There is a very significant filtering mechanism that takes place in processing experience in this way, such that a great amount of the qualitative content of the experience is not attended to, and therefore does not register as a significant portion of the ongoing construction of that experience. From the standpoint of the vastness of the creation, therefore, a great deal is lost. However, from the standpoint of the achievement of focus in shaping an orientation on the part of the seeker within the life experience, a great deal can be gained. In this way, exploration, as it were, with a microscope may be undertaken in a way in which the larger roadmap of being cannot even be featured for consideration, and therefore there is a great deal of confusion and a great deal of groping about, as it were, in the dark. This is a normal kind of experience within the veiled condition, and it is very useful to be able to proceed without a larger sense of how the particular qualitative resonance of one's being is integrated with the larger qualitative harmonics of beingness in a universe that is rich and vast. As so, a lifetime proceeds from deed and event to further deed and further event in such a way that there is the suggestion of a set of causal linkages running throughout a lifetime, and in such a way that new experiences, unanticipated experiences, may be had and may be seen as consequent to previously undertaken expressions, behaviors, or experiences. During the course of these events, conclusions may be drawn, inspiration may be taken, that has a potential for qualitative transformation resonating to a very deep level. Now, these transformations, purely qualitative in character, purely of the order of beingness, are often of such a fine vibratory level, shall we say, that they do not cross the threshold into conscious awareness. Nevertheless, significant work is being done, although it is not easy for one doing the work either to be aware of the work or to take a fully conscious role in undertaking the direction of that work. It is work done in the dark, so to speak, but of a sort that cannot as easily be done when a fuller awareness is available to the seeker. Now, during that period that you may call your interincarnational period, as we have said, there is an orientation or a tilt within the beingness of the evolving entity back towards its incarnational experiences in space-time. So there is still the space-time focus and a kind of memory which it would beggar our ability to describe, because it is significantly different from the more linear memory which you now enjoy. And yet it does form a kind of linkage with a life trajectory spanning your incarnational experiences in such a way as to give an unique identity for each developing soul. In this condition of the time-space portion of your space-time continuum, there is not the veil, and so one is much more directly conscious of the qualities of the beingness one exudes, and there is awareness of the beingness of others with whom one has established over the course of many life experiences deep resonance in relationship, and the qualities of these around one too are readily knowable. It happens, however, that the qualities within the beingness of those in the time-space portion are not always precisely what are desired by these developing beings, either individually or as a group. It is not so easy in time-space to undertake qualitative transformations of a deep and fundamental nature, and so it happens that what appears to the time-space invested individual as a kind of sleep is sought, and in this sleep there is a passage to what you would call the space-time portion of experience, and this is the beginning of another incarnative experience, which you might then liken to a dream being dreamed by one in time-space. We could say, in respect to this point, that there is a certain symmetry here, because when one is in the space-time portion of experience, one's closest approximation to time-space is, once again, in that state you call the dream, in which the sequential kind of experience that characterizes your waking state gives way to a more fluid experiential environment dealing with affective or emotional tonalities, shall we say, more redolent of time-space experience. We feel this will suffice for a description of what is extremely challenging to describe to an intelligence that is situated in a largely linear environment concerning the distinction between space-time and time-space, as it is lived in third density, which is subject to the veiling between the two dimensions, if you will. We have before us the discussion of space-time and time-space, as they are factors less divided from one another in the higher densities, and for purposes of pursuing this thought. It is so that in the third density veiled experience of space-time that the dimensions of space-time and time-space are more separated in their concept and experience. There is a definite delineation between one and the other going from waking to sleeping. The delineation between waking and sleeping in higher densities is more nebulous. In the fourth density, there is a pureness of mind that exists with an entity going through incarnation, which is much more likened to your sleep state in third density, in that the mind is less crowded to a fourth density individual, and that which is expressed as being comes through brighter, because the self is more translucent to the being that exists within all entities, all individualized portions of the Creator in every density. The sleep state of an entity in fourth density could more be related to that of your deep meditation in third density. There lacks the confusion and the reorientation between the sleep state and the wake states in fourth density. Indeed, on your planet, there are those currently existing in third density who do not require the sleep state as such, but have access to tap into the nourishment of being acquired normally in the dream state by going into this form of deep meditation. We use the term nourishment because the self demands reconnection with a more pure state of being, and this is true on every level of density from third to fourth, fifth, and so on. The state of sleep in the higher densities being more like meditation becomes more like the standard of existence the higher up one goes in the densities, so that in third density, one goes into a sort of coma, has access to this state of beingness, and then comes out of this state of coma into what they perceived to be the waking state. In fourth density, it is much less of a coma. It is still required in order for the individual to maintain incarnation, that is, to live and not die or cease that incarnation, but it is less of a coma state and more of an awareness during sleep. That which in fourth density would be analogous to dreaming is retained with greater ease, and on up into fifth density, even greater ease. The state of beingness in fifth density is so acute within the incarnation that going into a state of beingness in that dream state is very subtle. It is as a lucid dream where one goes in with intention. One performs the acts that it is aware need to be performed, and consciously awake from that state, and continue in the awakened state of that incarnation. And higher up in sixth density, the state between dream and waking is so subtle as to not even need the concept of sleep and wake, or being in a meditative state versus a non-meditative state. It would be such as on your planet in third density, people take a coffee break and just rest from activities for a moment. The state of pure time-space becomes more and more readily available the higher the frequency of that density, and at some point at the end of the series of densities, the self dissolves into the pure state. The pure time-space environment is one which does not lend itself well to description, for it is beyond most words' ability to describe. However, we shall do what we can in this regard. The pure time-space experience is one of the identifications with what you would call intelligent infinity, that portion of the creation which permeates all of the creation and expands beyond all creation infinitely. It is the stuff of unity, shall we say, that is somewhat different from the rest of what you call creation in that it is a quality of beingness that does not know any separation from the Creator. When the seeker of truth within your third density illusion, or within any density for that matter, is able to quiet the self, usually within the meditative state, to the point of blending the personal vibrations with the Creator and feeling that experience of oneness, then the seeker is experiencing intelligent infinity or the pure time-space experience. Within this state of total unity, then all service is seen as being the same without polarity, for all is the Creator. All serves the Creator, and there is no separation. Within such a state of unity, there is no desire for service, for movement, for anything, for indeed there is no desire. There is completeness, there is infinity, there is all that there is. This state of unity then may be seen as a foundation, shall we say, from which and upon which all which is made. It may be seen as that which interpenetrates all of the creation and gives it its substance. It may be seen as that from which all springs and to which all returns. You asked concerning the nature of service in time-space and space-time. In space-time, service is perceived in one's heart and stems from the essence of self that rests in beingness. Indeed, many entities upon your planet in third density spend their lives resting in this beingness and becoming more and more skilled at being passive radiators of love and light, taking the infinite supply of love light from the infinite Creator, blessing it and radiating it by setting the intention to do so through their eyes, through their actions, and through their being. Being of service to others often is a matter of this inner service, this beingness that is practiced throughout an incarnation. Other entities in third density perceive that they have the ability to serve in one way or another, and by faith they gather their will to offer this service freely to others. When an entity that is in space-time in third density is sleeping, there is the possibility of service that partakes far more in time-space than space-time. Much goes on within the unseen realms of your planet. There are those who find ways to nurture the young entities who have died when they are asleep. There are those who attend classes while they sleep, such is their desire to learn the truth. And there are those within incarnation on planet Earth who offer themselves as teachers within the sleep state. All of these things are service-oriented. In time-space, that portion of an incarnation that is spent with reference to time and the passage of time offer themselves in service as you do, my friends, in third density, aiding those about them, raising children, teaching and learning. When a group of entities in time-space decides to be of service as a group, they move into that which is far more of time-space in its pure state, not beyond, however, the realm of individuality. Words cannot fully express the process by which a group of entities becomes a unified concept. Picture, if you will, the endless vibrations and frequencies of your universe. Each vibration holds a certain character and attracts a certain population of entities. Those of the Confederation of angels and planets in the service of the infinite Creator, in our awareness of the plight of those upon planet Earth, moved into the energy, the essence, or the vibration which was at the heart of our desire to serve those who were calling out in sorrow, seeking love, inspiration, and information. In order to do this service, then, we released our form from its strictures and simply retained our essential vibrations. We became a kind of composite crystal that was able to move in time-space and space-time as a unit, and those composite parts of our principle moved into the inner realms of your planetary system to operate by thought alone. In our environment, we have little awareness of the passage of time, for we rest in the vibration in which we feel we are most of service to those who call upon us. The call evokes our response. There is no judgment as to how many are calling, but only to respond when the call for our service is felt. The service is from vibration to vibration, from essence to essence. We are not of greater service than are you, for all service is one. We simply offer what we can to those for whom we feel sympathy and affection. Perhaps, my friends, you feel the same when you are of service. What unifies our experiences is the satisfaction of standing in our essential being and offering that service which we came to offer. Whether your service on planet Earth at this time is in diapering a child, planting in the earth, offering smiles and good feelings to do with whom you come in contact, doing your job, whatever that may be, with pride, integrity, and excellence, or whatever you perceive your service to be, there is that satisfaction of having come to the conclusion that you wish to serve and then finding that you are able to serve. You are limited in what you see, while we are relatively unbound by strictures of any kind. Yet please realize that we are naturally limited by our gifts. Our nature and the quality and shape of our intention moved us to you in a certain way, and we vibrate at that frequency of love and service. That is our environment, and it is from that environment that we offer our service. When one is completely unbound, one also is no longer able to make a decision to serve. Rather, one's service is like the sunshine. It falls on the just and the unjust alike, radiating freely. While there is yet an awareness of personhood, while individuality still makes sense, there will be much more specificity of service. It is well in third density to anticipate service in time-space by releasing your concept of what constitutes service. One who wishes to be of service simply sets the intention to be of service. The next thing that comes before your eyes may not seem like a great service. It may be that your bathroom needs scrubbing. It may be that the area underneath your eaves needs scraping and painting. It may be that you find yourself going to a job that you have not previously thought of as being service-oriented. If you can remove all concept from your mind except that overriding desire to serve, and if you offer that intention to spirit, my friends, there will be that which unfolds before you that will bring you steadily, increment by increment, change by change, more and more into the heart of that which you can do to be of service to others. Sometimes, my friends, the path to your rightful service is a winding road. Do not be disturbed by this. It does not cost you anything to make mistakes, so-called to go down alleys that you find to be blind. You simply have to turn around and come back out. This is not a tragedy. It is part of the learning experience. Do not be discouraged no matter what your hopes of service are, and no matter how far service seems to be from you. Set your intention and wait for that to be attracted to you that will fill your heart with love and your work with purpose. We thank the one known as S for this query. We are those of Quo. Dear ones, we find that the energy wanes, and it is our time to go. Thank you so much for calling us to your circle. It has been a pleasure and a privilege to be with you. As always, we admire you tremendously. We are known to you as the principle of Quo, and leave you in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator. Adonai, my friends, Adonai, Vasu Baragas.